Two things most people either own or are familiar with are cars and computers. These are two of the best-selling products in world history as far as units and dollar figures go. People are always going to buy cars. People are always going to buy computers. That's an open secret. Now, one of the many reasons for this, one of the many reasons that people are always going to buy cars and computers is that neither one, you don't really need an instruction manual for either one. You walk into an Apple store, you get a computer built, or you go online and customize a Windows-based computer, and when you get it home, open the box, you pretty much already know how to use it, right? If you hit the space bar, the cursor moves to the right. You hit the delete key, the character, deletes the character you just typed. The mouse and the cursor work the same way and so forth. Most people know how to operate computers right out of the box, sight unseen, because they all work generally the same way. Yes, there are major differences in their packaging and brand and bells and whistles. You've got Macs versus PCs. Some computers have different programs and applications than others, and most computers just look differently from one to another as far as the outside is concerned. But if you open up a web browser on any one of those computers and type in donovansharpe.com, not only are you going to be shocked, for better or worse, you're all going to see the same thing on the same screen. Yes, again, computers are very different from each other in many ways, but they all operate in the same way. I think we can all agree on that. What's the same thing with cars? Whether you're driving a basic model Toyota Camry or a Lamborghini Diablo, the gas pedal is on the right, the brake pedal is on the left. The steering wheel is going to work the same way, and even though the engines are very different from one another, they have the same essential function, which is to propel the car forward. Yes, Lamborghinis have a lot more bells and whistles. Yes, the engine in a Lamborghini is very different from the engine in a Toyota. And yes, Lambos cost a shitload more cash than Toyotas. They are very different from one another, but they operate in the same way. Cars and computers, gentlemen, are similar to people. People come in all different shapes, sizes, and colors. We all come from different backgrounds, cultures. We all speak different languages. But if we take a painkiller, the pain goes away. If we do a line, we're gonna get high, we're gonna feel unbelievable, and of course when that wears off, we're gonna feel pretty shitty. If we take poison, we're gonna get sick or we're gonna die. If we eat too much, we get fat. If we lift weights, we get stronger. The list goes on, you guys get the point. One of the most ubiquitous axioms, one of the most ubiquitous sayings, beliefs of the red pill is that all women are like that. We've all heard it before. We've heard it our entire lives. But people who disagree don't really seem to understand, or at least they pretend not to understand, that all women are like that doesn't mean that all women are exactly the same. Like cars and computers, gentlemen, women come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. They all look very different in many ways from woman to woman. The hardware and the packaging might look different, but their hard drives are all the same. They are motivated by the same things. They carry out these motivations much the same way. And their motivations manifest themselves in the same way. We're going to get into that later. Let's talk about one of the most ubiquitous and annoying NAWALT behaviors, and that is rationalizing bad behavior, also affectionately known as the rationalization hamster. Now, the loose definition of rationalization hamster is women making excuses for women making excuses for engaging in bad behavior, making bad decisions. It's that simple. Now, to be fair, men and women engage in rationalizing bad behavior, but I think it's pretty clear that women do it far more, and they do it much more elaborately. And women's rationalizations are based on their emotions and their feelings, and this, of course, is where hamster comes in. The first time I ever detected the female rationalization hamster was about a month after I moved to Vegas. I was working at a call center and ended up hooking up with a girl named Susie, the low-quality Mexican 5.5, who really ended up changing my life. Long story short, again, this is in Red Pill Origins Volume 1, my wake-up call. So long story short, I hooked up with her, realized that she was a very low-quality woman. Then I found out a few hours later that she was on a date. Right? That led me to Google, why do girls get over breakups so easily? I ended up finding a website called menarbetterthanwomen.com, and the next day I found Return of Kings, and the rest is history. That's how Donovan Sharpe was created. Again, you guys can learn more about that on Red Pill Origins Volume 1, my Red Pill Awakening on DonovanSharpe.com or on patreon.com/Donovan Sharpe. Anyway, before we hooked up, she talked about her ex-husband, and it was the first time I recognized the hamster. Take a listen.
She was divorced, and she admitted to me that she had cheated on her husband throughout the marriage, which is typical. Of course, she blamed him. He wasn't attentive enough. He was never home. He was working all the time, etc., etc. I actually called her out because I asked her, I said, well, did he cheat on you? I said, shit. She said, well, yeah. And that's his fault, too. She literally said that to me. I said, okay, so wait a minute. So he cheats on you. It's his fault. I get it. I understand. He's a scumbag, whatever. But you cheat on him, and it's still his fault. And, of course, she didn't have anything to say about that.
Even blue pill guys, like myself at the time, I was completely... Truthfully, listen, I definitely was blue pill. It's probably skewing toward a shade of purple at that point. Because thinking back on my interactions with Susie... I implemented a little red pill game without actually knowing it was red pill game. At that point, I knew that, being placating, rescuing women, that was not the way to women. Listen, I tried it with Amy, that didn't work. I tried it with Darcy, that didn't work. I tried it with Carla, that didn't work. So I didn't have red pill awareness, but I knew at that point that rescuing women was not the way to fuck them. So when it came to Susie, listen, I still had my blue pill ways about me. Rescuing her was not one of them. Matter of fact, I remember her asking me to be her roommate. During the time we were sort of, I don't want to say we were hooking up, but during the time we were talking, flirting, etc., etc., she actually had a boyfriend a boyfriend at the time. And I think she had known him for like 2 weeks, and all of a sudden they were trying to move in together, which was weird because she was still checking for me. So I'm thinking, all right, well, I could f this girl and somebody else can take care of her. Again, a little bit of red pill creeping in. Well, all of a sudden, one day he just ghosted on her because he came to his senses, obviously. So she asked me, I'll never forget, she's driving me home. I didn't have a car at the time. She's driving me home, and she's like, well, listen, I wanted to propose this to you. I wanted to know if you wanted to be my roommate. I'm like, no. No. Like, I'm living with my friend right now. Like, I've got a good situation there. We've got a lease. No, I'm not going to do it. Like I told her, I said, I barely know you. And I told her, I said, listen, we flirt, but dude, I've known you for 2 weeks. That doesn't mean we should live together. I probably gave myself a stay of financial execution. Anyway, at that point, I still was able to recognize the female rationalization hamster. I understand that, hey, it can't be his fault. It can't be his fault that he cheated and his fault that you cheated. And listen, I call out women on rationalizing all the time. And listen, including Devin. Of course, not as much now, but in the beginning, I called her out. I called her out on all kinds of stuff. Some of the things that women sort of rationalize to give themselves permission to engage in bad behavior is the bad boy. Well, he beat up his last girlfriend. Well, he won't beat me up. So they make the bad decision to hook up with the guy. They get beat up. That's how that happens. And then they still rationalize it. Well, I don't know. Maybe I pissed him off. No, maybe you shouldn't have got with the guy. You sleep with a random guy at the bar an hour and a half after meeting him. Well, I was drunk and we had chemistry. That's the rationalization hamster. Sleep with a guy on the first date. Now he doesn't call you back because now he knows you're. Well, men are players. Men are players. Men are dogs. Unplanned pregnancy. You got pregnant, didn't plan to. Well, I'm allergic to latex and lambskin condoms, and I swear to God, they all pulled out. This is what they do. Then the same women, they'll protest about written consent. Yes means yes. But then your favorite book is 50 Shades of Grey. Yeah, but Kristen Grey is hella hot. It's just not the same thing. Now, the reason girls engage in hamstering is because they don't want to look bad. Girls talk all the time. Listen, they don't want the world. They don't want people to think that they're bad people. And listen, to be fair, nobody does. Nobody wants to. We all sit here and talk about, I don't want to be liked. I don't care. Listen, we all care on some level. Listen, and truly not caring what other people think. Ed Lattimore wrote a book called Not Caring What People Think is a Superpower. It really is. We all care what people think about us, whether we admit it or not. Not caring what people think is a masculine trait. This is why all girls like to say, well, I don't care what people think. Yeah, really? Is that why you dress the way you do? Is that why you wear makeup every day? Is this why you engage in epic hamstering? So nobody wants the world to think that they're bad people. But girls are hyper concerned with it. I don't care what people think. Yeah, they do. Otherwise, they wouldn't hamster. If if girls really didn't care about what other people thought of them, they would just keep it real. They just say, you know what? I slept with him because I wanted to, or I got pregnant because an unwrapped feels better. Unprotected sex feels better. But girls are never straight up or honest about anything because, again, they don't want people to feel bad. They don't want people to think that they're bad people, but they want to appear morally superior. It's funny that they are morally bankrupt. Women today are morally bankrupt by nature, which is evolutionarily necessary, but that's a deeper topic for another time. But they always hamster to try to appear morally superior. This way, when they virtue signal, it comes off as genuine. I'm so against domestic violence, so I'm a good person. And I'm telling the truth because the guy I slept with last night was a good guy. And he was only in town for one night. No. You slept with that guy because he's hot and you wanted to sleep with him. Every woman has a hamster, and they all use it to some degree. All women are like that.